After the semi-success of When Dream and Day Unite, Dream Theater wanted to add something new to their sound. Little did they know this addition would last them through multiple decades. Welcome to Chronologically, in which I, Bent, take a look at a band and their entire discography in chronological order. Today we have the money-making machine for Dream Theater, Images and Words. But first, a history lesson. After When Dream and Day Unite, the band decided to let Charlie go for a number of reasons, but mainly because he just wasn't the right fit for the band. Naturally, they needed a new singer, so they auditioned a bunch of people. This was stated by the band to be one of the toughest periods in the band's history. Eventually, the man chosen was Kevin James LaBrie, or as you know, James LaBrie. He dropped the Kevin due to there being two Johns in the band already, and he thought two Kevins, himself and more, would just add to the confusion. LaBrie showed promise in his vocal range, but can he live up to the sheer awe of musicianship already held in the band? First, let's look at the positives. Number 1. James LaBrie. Short question, short answer. LaBrie is phenomenal in this album, from his lows down to his highs. Got that a bit backwards. His voice fits the music perfectly, and those notes he hits are just amazing. Personally, I think even if you tried, you couldn't find a better fit for Dream Theater than James LaBrie. Fight me. Number 2. Kevin Moore. Moore really tried to prove himself with this album. His keyboards are amazing, much more so than the last album. His solos are out of this world. His harmonies with Petrucci are stellar, not to mention the clear chemistry he has with Portnoy. Speaking of, number 3, Petrucci and Portnoy took their insane talent pills. No doubt Petrucci's soloing went into Jupiter with how far out of this world it is in this album. Under a Glass Moon, all those Metropolis solos, and especially the Pull Me Under solo, are just a small example of how talented Petrucci is. Portnoy is the same way, but with drums. His grooves aren't quite at the level they are now, but his double bass work on the album is still astonishing. Yes, that was a pun. Number 4, the mix. They fixed the mixing from When Dream and Day Unite, and it's glorious. The drums sound proper, the guitar comes out, you can still hear the bass, and the keyboards are just where they need to be. The vocals get the treatment everything else did too. But I feel like since these are two very different feeling albums with different vocalists, When Dream and Day Unite's vocals had a lot more reverb and effects going on than Images and Words. They really just aren't comparable. Now for the negatives. Yes, there are really negatives on this album. I'm shocked too. Number 1. The cheese. This album, as good as it is not afraid to delve into some of that 90s cheese. I mean, full-on saxophone solos and keyboards doing some pretty weird stuff. At this point, I think Dream Theater was a full-on hair band. And that's pretty cheesy. That's it. No further negatives. On with the songs. The song that started it all, and for good reason. While nothing too fancy in the time signatures department, the song makes up for it in feel. This feels like an epic, because they want you to believe it's one. I didn't really touch upon lyrics in the last episode because I didn't find anything too substantial, but this is the album where lyrics were kicked up right in the groin to get that juicy mix of tranquility and heaviness. That was a weird sentence. Along with the near flawless performance from LaBrie, the lyrics truly shine on this album. This is just one example of that. Drum-wise, you can't get better than Portnoy wailing away on the kit. I've heard some complaints about the samples used, mainly the snare, but I like it, so I'll give it a pass. He's used better sounding kits though. Moore truly exemplifies the work he's done since When Dream and Day Unite, feeling the passion he gets from the sheer tenacity of the composition. In other words, it's pretty good. The guitar bass work fits in with the others, and that they're both some of the best in the album. The clean riff, the chugging, the solo, I love it all. A solid song worthy of how popular it is. Track 2, Another Day. While there is definitely good in this track, the cheesiness definitely detracts from the overall quality. For example, the saxophone. It's cheesy as all heck, but the drum grooves are just insane. The solos in this one, and the whole album for that matter, are exceptional. The singing is pretty good, but I think this is the first instance of what I call the Brie style, in which he does pretty much whatever notes he wants to do in a given song. In some cases, it's really good, but in songs like this, where it doesn't really fit, it's a bit of a burden. Would have been better without the sax. Now this is more like it. Groovy, but intense. Somber, but heavy. This is what Dream Theater is all about. Varied styles collaging into a massive heap of music. And I think this song, and another one that's really obvious if you know the album, or Dream Theater, are great examples of this. The verses and their groovy bass and drums, only to go into quite possibly the heaviest part of the album during the chorus. I love that. Seriously, I love that triplet feel. Now this style can get tiresome for some, but if you came to Dream Theater looking for an easy listen, that's just not their style. I think this is the song people looking to see if they like Dream Theater or not should listen to. This, or a certain other song. Track 4, Surrounded. For a song as morbid as this one, at least lyrically, it's surprisingly upbeat. Needless to say, it suffers from the Another Day syndrome, albeit to a lesser extent. It's certainly cheesy, but it's also a pretty good song with some amazing solos. Not the most creative drum work here, but it is the first time I said that after 3 songs already, as a drummer myself. I'm pretty harsh when it comes to this thing. Everything else is exactly as you would expect up to now. Keys, vocals, guitar, and bass are all excellent. An okay song with only really one thing going against it. Track 5, Metropolis Part 1. Blech. This is Dream Theater. The instrumentals, the chilling vocals, the downright awe-inspiring musicianship, the solos, the time signatures, the drum patterns, and the lyricism, it's all as close to perfection as humankind could ever possibly get. Let's start from the beginning. So the track starts off in what you can only call a majestic opening, with sleigh bells and that great chord progression every DT fan knows, into what I can only call amazing from here on out. Then, Labrie comes in and he steals the show. The notes he hits fit in amazingly with the musicality of the song, and honestly, I don't think he could have done a better job, performance-wise. After that awe-inspiring vocal part, we go into the instrumental section. This is where the music shines. Guitar solos everywhere, complex bass lines and drum grooves, keys that add to the song rather than detract from it, and oh my god, that feel at the end is next to none. Nothing beats this track. As I've said before, this is Dream Theater. Track 6, Under a Glass Moon. You know how I essentially just gushed for the entirety of the last song? Well, it's happening again. Yep, I have nothing but positives for this one. Well, let's start with the Brie. He certainly adds to the music this time around, but he does something that I didn't think he would do. He used his Labrie style to his advantage. He adds to the music as well as the lyricism. Not to mention those amazing highs in the chorus. I think it's the chorus. The song is structured really weird. While we're gushing, I have no idea what it is with John Petrucci and 6-track solos, but whatever it is, please keep it up. Seriously, this solo is so good that sometimes I would just listen to the song for the solo. As a drummer. The drumming in the song is next to none. I am completely serious. This is the best drumming on the entire album, period. The double bass is something that God would bestow upon us mere mortals as a gift of gratitude for the sheer ferocity of the musicianship. Or something like that. And also a song that, frankly, doesn't need any further thought than that was amazing. Track 7, Wait for Sleep. This song is mellow. Surely you know that after 2 awe-inspiring songs there would need to be breathing room, right? Well, this song does that job pretty well. It's truly nothing special, but it does show the more somber side of Labrie. Get used to that, kiddos. Mar also shows off his insane chord progression skills, granted to a lesser extent than other songs on the album. It's short, but that's all it needs to be. Track 8, Learning to Live. Jesus Christ, this came out of nowhere. This song is good, but I don't think it's as good as Metropolis or Under a Glass Moon. Granted, the song is excellent, but it just doesn't reach the same high point as some of the other songs. However, this is final form Labrie right here. The mellow tone, the heavy crackling of his voice, the lows, the highs, that F sharp he hits, oh, it's all so wonderful. More also really kicks it up a notch with my favorite chord progression on the album. Even more so than Metropolis. Fight me. While this song certainly has keys and vocals in a tight knot, the guitar and drums are somewhat sloppily put together with the rest of the band. Bass is good though. Bass is always good. You really gonna doubt John Myung? Like, my god, what are you doing? Could have been better though, but still really good. Overall, Images and Words is certainly better than When Dreaming Day Unite. Leagues above, in fact. But its down points lie in the time it was made. Unlike When Dreaming Day Unite, whose biggest strength was the passion that came from the era. There's a hint of that passion carried over in certain songs, but overall I think that Images and Words is the better product due to more clarity, better mixing, and better musicianship. This album is certainly worthy of being the kickstart to the band's popularity. An 8.7 out of 10. Check back next week for the Awake episode.